Hey Bryce, how are you doing? Are you
I'm
good?
doing great. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy because you're a teacher, so and right, it's right end of day right now. So I really appreciate the time. The fact that you're taking the time. But
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
yeah, but yeah. So why don't you tell us about yourself and start from the beginning, from before you got started into real estate, and then how you actually got in.
Oh, it's crazy, man. I'm a high school marketing entrepreneurship teacher here in St. Louis, Missouri at Kirkwood High School. I've always been entrepreneurial minded and spirited. My dad's an entrepreneur, ran his business for a lot of years, and got to kind of watch that. My mom was also an entrepreneur. She was also a kindergarten teacher. So a lot of those things that I ended
Oh,
up
nice.
doing is a lot of family stuff that probably led me here. But I had to kind of work through that on my own in college and kind of find my own way. Also coached football for a lot of years, and that's how I ultimately got into teaching. But
Well,
um,
so do you
go
you
ahead.
also like do a little bit of football when you teach?
Not
No, not
anymore.
anymore. Okay.
No, I stopped coaching football the year our daughter was born. So I coached that very first season, and I only saw her to take her to daycare drop off at 6:30 in the morning, and every night by the time I got home, she was already like down for the night, and
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
I I, I knew by about mid-season that that was my last year coaching. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. It was crazy how much priorities in life could shift just like that, but they
Yeah.
did, and that's one of those things that like I'd really dedicated a lot of my life to and loved every minute of it. And but it was just kind of time. And then once I found out what life was like without football, especially in the summer, like we didn't have camps and weight room every
Yeah.
day, and we got to go to the lake for a full week in the summer and drink
Wow.
coffee and play on the boat. And I was like, oh, I'm not ever going back to coaching. So yeah, so that was kind of our journey into teaching. And then ultimately, our kids is probably what sprouted my journey into real estate through a couple year process as well. Shortly after my wife went back to work after maternity leave,
Yeah.
she came home and said, "I'm not sure I can do this full time. I don't really want to do this full time anymore." I said, "Okay, let's figure out how to get you part time." And we
Yeah.
were able to kind of put together something that she would pitch to her boss, and they allowed her to cut down to 3 days a week. And so, which was awesome. She went from a 40-hour week to just a 30. She switched into doing 310. So,
Hmm.
you work 60% of the days, but still get 75% of the pay. So it was
Right.
kind of a good little angle for us. And so that was one piece. And then the other piece is add another kid into the mix. So we take a salary pay cut. We put
Uh,
two kids into daycare. We both got to upgrade cars, so they work with car seats. Like all of a sudden, we're like our annual monthly cash flow like took a
dropped.
hit.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was crazy. It was like
Yeah.
a number that it was like almost like an $80,000 a year swing.
Yeah.
And so like we found ourselves. I'll never forget. Like my wife, I wanted to go on vacation. She's like, "Can we afford that?" And I'm like, I remember that conversation distinctly in our living room. And I remember thinking, like this is not a conversation we're ever going to have in our house. So that was like my start. Like, what do we need to do so we can never have to ask that question? Can we go on this vacation again? And I had a buddy in real estate who owned some college rentals that I went to college with. So I started picking his brain, the guy's underwriting spreadsheet, started learning, just kind of looking at some stuff here in St. Louis and then some other towns. And um, I got into that. I dove into bigger pockets when I found bigger
Of
pockets.
course. Yeah.
Right? Isn't that where everybody
Yeah.
starts? Like, I mean,
Exactly.
I wish I could properly thank the bigger pockets like Community and Brandon Turner and those guys that were doing that in like that
Yeah.
2014 stretch. Because I mean, ultimately I got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and a doctorate degree in real estate from like listening to those guys and then doing deals. And then like it was just incredible. But that didn't say I didn't go through some analysis paralysis first, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone does. Like when you first
right,
start
for
off.
sure. Like it was probably a year and a half, until like we actually like made like an offer on a place. But then even then I was still like scared to death. And then we ended up buying a rental from one of my younger brother's best buddies in high school. He
Nice.
had gone to college in a town close to where we grew up. And one of the things a lot of kids do there when they go to school is the houses are like they probably bought them for $60,000 or $70,000. This is in, the mid 2000s, late 2000s. So probably a really good time to be buying real estate, hindsight. And then a lot of them will turn around and they rent them to their buddies. And then some of them will keep them and some of them will sell them. Well, he had kept his for a few years, but then he was living about 45 minutes away. So he just got into the spot where he was kind of tired of trying to manage it, from being that far away. And like he felt like the market had moved, it probably doubled in value for him. And he was ready to be out. So we ended up talking to him and ended up buying that. We bought it for about 120.
Nice. And what year was this again?
This would have been in 2016. We bought our first one.
Okay.
And the day after we closed, we had water in the basement.
Of course.
Of course. And I thought I was going to self-manage this property from 5 hours away in St. Louis.
Seriously?
And oh yeah, I thought it was easy. Like the tenants were already in there. Their lease was till the end of April, right? Like how hard can it be? And so I learned real quick how hard it could be. And
to be a landlord, like a real landlord.
Yeah, right. Not having the quick, calls to make for maintenance people and foundation people and just like all the things. And so like trying to do that on my own and getting people in to like fix it and work on it. And like, then it was like, I don't know these people. Like, I don't know who to trust or not trust. And so ultimately that's what led me to reaching out to a local real estate agent and property manager, which ultimately ended up being like one of the best relationships I've ever put together, like in our business life. Julie's been incredible. She runs our 9 property portfolio in Maryville. Nice. And I mean, she's worth her weight in gold. We've made her a bunch of money. She's made us a bunch of money. And it's just been an incredible relationship and journey that we've been on with her for, I guess we've been together for like 7.5 years now. And I keep telling her if she's going to retire, she's got to give me like a 2 or 3 year heads up. But yeah, so that's been incredible. And that was kind of like our journey into real estate. The first one was rough, and we went on those swings. Like those people that only own one, like it's either good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't. And so I learned pretty quickly, like we needed more than one to help balance out the good and the bad to where it becomes like an average. And then you've got some averages that you can work on.
Yeah. So how exactly did you go from scaling from 1 unit to the 9-unit portfolio during that time period? And how long was that time period?
Yeah, it wasn't fast, right?
No,
and
of course not. Yeah.
After getting water in the basement, all of a sudden I became like super gun shy again, right? So like I was like, and I know my wife was looking at me sideways for a little bit too, and she was super hesitant to get on board as well. But ultimately, I got her to like, let's try one. Like here's the worst that can happen. And so, we needed like 20 or 30,000. I think we needed like $24,000 to get into the deal. But like that was harder money we'd saved. And like, it was a new venture that neither one of us had really played in before. And so, but once we got our property manager in place, like the smoothness that kind of really helped us. So then I was able to gain some confidence. We picked up our second one. It took us 2 years before we bought another one.
Did you refinance or did you like just work,
Nope.
save? Okay, good.
Yep. And so it was just saving.
So you didn't add on debt. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so no refi. Remember, this is a rural Missouri town.
Oh, refining harder.
It's just not a big appreciation market.
Yeah.
It's that classic Midwest, like slow and steady. The ups aren't as up and the downs aren't as down. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do business there too. So we picked up our second one, and our second one was a killer deal.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. It was somebody almost done with their rehab. It was a block from the football field. And then these are all college rentals, and so we got a little bit of a discount because the rehab wasn't quite done, but like it was like 95% done. So we didn't really have to come in and do hardly anything. Really, all we had to do was just put just a couple of finishing touches on it, and then let my property manager rent it out. And we ended up getting like $400 more a month than I thought we were going to get on it.
Yeah.
And so we bought it I think we bought it like in the 160s, and for 4 or 5 years, we rented it for like $21.50. And so
Okay.
1%, like smash it on the 1%
That
rule
rule.
when the 1% rule was king, right?
Yeah.
And so we just absolutely crushed it. I think our monthly note on that was like 800, around $800. And so we were like cash flowing over $1,000 a month on that thing, which was
That's sweet.
incredible.
That's
Right.
sweet.
One
Yeah.
one single family place. And so then that mailbox money literally started coming
Yeah.
in. And my wife's like, oh, okay. Okay.
Now she's seeing it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I believe
right.
you.
It
Yeah.
was. It's like, okay, I can see this. And then so then I started having a little bit more confidence. Our other place we had got settled in. And so then I was just looking, but just trying to be picky and cautious. And then um we were actually under contract on our third one
Hmm.
in February of 2020 before COVID and the lockdowns.
Yeah.
And then they announced the lockdowns, and we peeled out just because we just didn't know.
Yeah. Okay.
And in hindsight, we should have just stayed under contract. But like it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback.
I know.
But we did. We just backed out, and we're like, you know what? Let's just hit the pause button. Let's see how this all shakes out.
And at that point,
And
like right before COVID, like where were you at? You were at 3 properties or
we were just at two.
just
And
at 2 still?
so
Okay. Okay. Wow.
we were really slow moving early on.
Yeah.
It took a while to get some momentum, but I had like confidence and I'd learned a ton
Right.
to where like I was ready to do some deals, but we were also
Okay.
stacking. We were trying to put
Yeah.
we were putting some money back together so we could kind of do our own deals, feel comfortable taking 10% chunks out to buy new places without putting us in a tight spot financially. And just kind of keep doing that. And we built a nice little kind of cash reserves in our savings
Mhm.
accounts. And we'd been funding some life insurance policies, our whole life policies as well. And so we've been building like our infinite banking system.
Have you been like, have you considered like also, because I know some people also do this as part of their portfolio, but they from some of the cash flow that they get, a certain percentage of it they'll put back into principal payment only for the mortgage to reduce the overall amortization. So then the debt gets paid down over like 10, 15 years into the full 30 years. Have you like considered adding that into your portfolio as well or no?
So not necessarily. So I think that's all about like everybody's goals, right?
Yeah.
And so going back to like our monthly goals, like my original goal when we started was to get to like $10,000 a month
Right.
net cash flow because I felt like that our first goal is 5. So
Yeah.
like 5 replaced my wife's part-time
Right.
like shift and some of those other pieces we picked up. And then we hit that and we hit it pretty quickly once we got going. And then I was like, okay, well then like 10's that next one. I started looking at like our monthly expenses. So my goal is about having max cash flow.
Right.
And I know this doesn't check everybody's boxes, but this is about our personal life. We want to be able to live our lives now while we're healthy. Our kids are here, they're healthy, and we are in control. Because we don't know what's in front of us. And I watched my parents work their whole lives and retire. And my dad had a heart attack and he just beat prostate cancer.
Wow.
My mom's had like a hip surgery. So like
when did all this happen?
Like all like the COVID stretch, like
seriously?
the 2020 to like 2022 was wild for our family.
Oh man. Yeah.
And so, but like I've seen like I don't want to wait. And like that's just all there is to it. And so I want to live our best life now without jeopardizing like our bigger picture and our long-term goals.
It put a fire in your stomach, right? To like push forward.
It does.
Yeah.
Right. And so like every decision we make is about like, okay, how are we smart about our monthly cash flow and how do we work in those different segments? How do we monetize properties? Can we raise rents? Like what are those different pieces? So more cash into principal puts money into a spot that I can't use it.
No, you
right?
can't. You can't take
I
it
can't.
out.
And so like that's not my goal. I'd rather build that cash and go buy another property.
Yeah.
And so that just comes, but I know there's a lot of value in that other side as well. It's just doesn't check the box for our family's goals.
Yeah. So then okay, so right like during that COVID time you had 2 properties, and then when was it that you went back into the market and started buying?
So we spent a lot of the COVID lockdowns in May at the Lake of the Ozarks, boating, fishing. It was incredible.
Have you ever watched the Ozarks?
I have. Yeah, we definitely watched the show.
I loved it. Yeah.
It wasn't filmed at the actual Ozarks, of course, but no, it was. We had a great spring. We did school and work from our mom and dad's lake condo. Taught my son how to drive our boat, and he was
nice.
like
memories.
He was like 6, right? but we also saw like how many people didn't have that, and we could feel that there was going to be like a run on kind of like some stuff like that. So we started looking in Branson, Missouri, and a couple other things.
How did you know that? Like, that's
We
pretty
were so
impressive.
well. So we were at the lake. It was like the first weekend in May,
Right.
and it was warm. It got to be like 80 degrees, and
Fahrenheit.
the lake Fahrenheit,
I'm
yes,
Canadian,
and
sorry.
and the lake looked like it was the 4th of July,
Oh
and
wow.
there were that many boats out. And I looked at my wife and I said, "People are tired of being locked down. They're gonna go nuts for space, lakes, vacations where there's space."
Outdoors. Wow.
Uh-huh. And
Okay, I get it.
so
If
now
I saw that, I would feel that too. I get it.
I could see it and feel it. And so it was like that afternoon, I got on my computer, I got on Realtor and Zillow, started looking, and I don't love the Lake of the Ozarks market as an investor
Hmm.
because it's really Memorial Day to Labor Day is
Yeah.
the season. They don't, and I think it has a chance to change, but a couple years ago, it just wasn't a spot where it could. But Branson down the road a little bit has almost a 10-month market, which is pretty incredible.
Oh
I think
wow. Okay.
there's very few markets that in the country that you can get 10 out of.
Yeah.
And we don't personally love Branson, but I know a lot of people do, and there's a lot of value there. So I went and met a realtor down there in early June, toured a bunch of properties.
Hmm.
We wore masks in the truck and cars, like
Yeah.
it was weird, right? But like, and I came back and I'd found a place that I then analyzed and overanalyzed for about a month and a half, and
Right.
I wanted to buy. It was a reach for us personally. It was a 6-unit condo building that had 2 bedroom, 2 bath places in it, right next to Silver Dollar City. And
Okay.
the owner, he wanted he was asking like 190 a unit for them.
190,000 per unit. How
Yeah,
many units were there again? Sorry.
there were 6 of them in
Six
there.
units. Okay.
Yep. And the guy
It's
had
about $1
just
million.
bought,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and so the guy had just bought a building next door for like 145 a unit from him.
Oh, okay.
And so like I thought he was kind of being greedy, and so did some other people I talked to. We got to about like 175 a unit, and I said like I think we should take a shot on these. But like it was gonna take a couple $100,000 down to buy it. We didn't necessarily have that. We were gonna either have to borrow some money from bring somebody in or do something, and so then there were a bunch of new things we were looking at. And
So
my wife,
did you do a JV or a private money lender?
well, we didn't end up buying them. So,
Oh, right. Okay.
but my wife's like, what happens if we stay locked down for another 3 months and Silver Dollar City doesn't open? We have to carry this.
Yeah.
And so she's the rational piece of our pie, which is fabulous. And I need her and love her.
The
And
integrator.
yep, she is. And I'm that visionary. Let's go get it. Let's figure it out. We'll figure it out
Awesome. I
later.
love that.
And
Yeah.
so
That's
she's a
perfect.
great balance to me. And so, and even like we didn't do that deal, and I regret it because those units were selling in the mid 300s a unit within 9 months. And so
Jeez.
we'd have had a chance to make like a quick million on it, which is
Yeah.
crazy. But not doing that deal lit a fire under me to go do a ton of
More.
deals in our college market. And
Awesome.
so, and that was a huge pivot moment too. And like, I'm still kind of salty that we didn't buy that deal. I'm not going to lie. It's going to
Yeah.
be like that one
Man,
that got away.
there's the number
Um,
of deals that have got away from me. Oh, like it drives me
I
insane.
know, I
Yeah.
know. But we then Julie, our property manager in our college town,
Yeah.
brought me a sorority property that
Okay.
a couple months later, and I looked at it, and it didn't take me very long to look at it, and I said to my wife, I said, we need to buy this, and she said, okay.
Yeah. How many bedrooms were there, like to rent out?
So 14 bedrooms.
What? Yeah. Okay.
It was one parcel of land. One of the houses had 5 bedrooms, and then there was a duplex that had 4 and 4, and then a house that had 2. Does that math add up? Maybe the house was 4.
Okay.
However you shake it. So,
So like
but
four units in total.
Yes. And then a shared like parking lot kind of in the middle
Yeah, for
and
everyone.
like caddy corner to college, right? So
Yeah,
like just like primo space. Guy who'd owned it had had it for a long time. And when I ran my numbers, I kind of looked at what was going on in the market. Like it's pretty evident to me it was really under rented. And he wanted 550 for it. And I think that we picked it up for about 535, I think is where we snagged it.
that's awesome.
It was, and he had rents of right at like 54, 5,500 when we bought it. So 1% rule
Rule again,
already,
crushing it.
right?
Yeah,
Right. And so this is late 2020. Interest rates were moving down quickly, which was in our favor. And so I
did,
went to my
did you
my
fix it?
friend. There wasn't any fix to do really.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so we came in and we in two turnovers, so two rent turnovers.
Yeah.
We took rents from that 5,400 mark to 7,000 a month.
Oh, dude,
Um,
that's awesome.
and so it was incredible. We were cash flowing over 3,000 clean
Dollars. Yeah.
from that one. It was incredible.
How is your? I'm just curious though. How is your maintenance repairs on these student rentals? Are they
They're
bad? Or are they like okay?
no, no,
No,
they're
really?
fine.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, and that's props to our property manager. She does an incredible job vetting
Ah.
our kids. We love to rent to females. We like guys too,
They party
but
harder.
they you might be a little surprised,
Really?
but they definitely punch more holes in the walls
Yeah.
than the girls do. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
like honestly, I don't know. Like we had a house where some guys put some grease and clogged up like our sink, and then it flooded and went down to the
Yeah.
ceiling basement. But like at the end of the day, like less than $500 to fix it, and if it's bad enough, we just hit their deposit on the backside. And so
Yeah.
it's not cash out of my. I think that's why we take deposits on everybody, right?
Yeah.
So,
So when you're
um,
calculating your like cash flow statement when you're doing your underwriting,
yep,
how much are you like putting in for like maintenance? Like aside, are you
yeah,
putting
I
like
do. I just
5%,
do a.
10%?
I do a straight 10% on everything
Uh,
that I underwrite.
that's smart. That's good.
Um,
Yeah.
and like and that was the my buddy who got kind of helped me get started. He kind of advised me on that. And when I underwrite, I do 10% maintenance. I pay 10% for management. In our college
Nice.
town, I'm confident enough that I can actually do 0% vacancy because we never have a vacancy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I don't have to like build in like a 5 or 10 there. Which really makes a difference because I know like everything turns over on April 30, kids go out, and by May 2nd, they're all in. And so
Oh
like
wow.
we
Sweet.
just have it's a system. My property manager is
Yeah.
so good at doing that. And so, and when she tells me she can rent it, like she knows that she's not going to tell me she can't do something if she can't do it because
Yeah.
she has to then own that. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and so we just have incredible trust, and she's been so good there.
Sweet. So then at this point you have what 6 units in your portfolio in total, right?
Yep.
Right. So then how do you get to the nine?
So once these like $3,000 cash flow checks started kicking,
Yeah.
and money was really cheap, and like I was still mad about not buying the place in Branson. Like
Yeah.
I told Julie, I said I want to buy everything in this window next to campus that you can get me.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
and at that spot we had built cash up. We were over, like we had hit our 5,000 a month cash flow number
Hmm.
from just owning the few places that we owned. And
Yeah.
like I could just feel that snowball rolling down the hill. Right. And so she started sending me place, and we bought a place every month almost for all of 2021.
Oh.
And then the other big thing that we did that year is we sold our very first property that we ever bought in
Oh.
the summer of 2021. Prices
What?
moved. The
Oh,
Midwest,
that's why. Okay.
the Midwest that never
Yeah.
appreciated, right?
Smart move because
When
now things are down. So
right,
yeah.
and so the market moved, inflation moved everything, and there the inventory got really tight, and Julie brought me a buyer. She's like, "Hey, I've got somebody who will pay this for you." I'm like, "No, you don't." And we bought it for 120. She's like, "I think I've got a buyer that'll pay 180 for it." I'm like, "Well, if you can sell it for 180, then you can sell it."
Yeah.
And we got like 173 on it.
Nice.
Um, we did a 1031 exchange. I'd never done one of those. So I kind of cut my teeth on doing my first one of those.
And it was a cash deal, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
And so from that single family house, the first one we ever bought that we put $24,000 into, we 1031 into a 4-unit apartment building,
Sweet.
a single family 5-bedroom house, and a duplex.
Right, the sorority, right? That's amazing. I like that.
No, not that building.
Not
This
that
was
one?
these were 3 completely separate properties. So we
What?
stacked on top of the
Oh,
sorority.
dude, that's awesome.
It was an incredible move. It was awesome. It was like almost like too good to be kind of true.
Yeah.
And so we were able to really do that exchange. And then the first place we sold was probably like our smaller cash flow deal. Like we maybe were
Right.
only doing like 300 a month on that.
Yeah.
And these places that we picked up from that deal, we're probably doing close to like 3 or 4 on those. So
Nice.
like it was awesome. And we locked in at like 4.25 with our local banker for 30 years and set it and forget it on those guys.
So none of the deals that you did were creative though, right? They were all like conventional.
I've actually still never done a creative deal. I've got a couple I'm really close on right now.
Yeah, nice.
Even though I've been in sub 2 for a long time, I've been learning a ton. I've kind of been when I started initially, and I like to watch and wait. And I know there's a lot of value in action taking, but I like to have a little bit more control and hands on. And I'm confident enough now, and I've got a couple that we're close on one in Orlando, and we're close on a creative deal in Columbia, Missouri by Mizzou. Right now too, that I think we can add some more college. We can get into a new college town. We're pretty heavy in my college market right now for it being a small rural market.
Yeah.
And I'd still add there if there's something good to add. But I'd also like to maybe get some exposure in another college town or two. So anybody's got college properties or portfolios, hit me up.
Man, in the short time of like 7 years, I think you stacked up a pretty good like amount of deals, because like the deals you got, you didn't have to actually pay out of your pocket every single month. You beat the 1% rule every single time. That's not easy to do. A lot of investors, they don't do that. So like when I hear that, I'm like, oh man, that's impressive. Like honestly, they don't do that.
Well, I appreciate it, but like I think what a lot of people don't know is like, and this like my wife doesn't even know, like she's like, we're buying a lot of stuff. I'm like, you don't see how many things I'm saying no to, right?
Yeah.
Like I was looking at dozens of deals a week and saying no to tons of them
because they're bad deals.
And they were, right?
Yeah.
Or, like just one of the levers was too high. A seller wanted too much, or like maybe the rents were already capped out. And where we made our hay was being able to buy places that were being under rented. That's where we did really well. And we just needed like one turnover, and then all of a sudden
there's your cash flow.
Like, and I did the last couple I bought were really tight cash flow on the buy, but I knew I just needed 1 or 2 rent turns and they would be great. And so like, I wouldn't advise like somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and isn't established in a market doing that.
Yeah.
But like, I know that market so well now and have enough confidence in our property manager to like make those decisions. Like she just texted me a couple of days ago. She's like, are you interested in the soft market one? And guy wants $250 for it, and he's got it rented for $2,400 right now, but claiming he's getting $2,700 on the turn in the spring. And I said, how confident are you that you can get $2,700 for it? And she said, not as confident as I can get $2,400. And so I told me all I needed, because she told me on these other ones, like, I can get you this. And she's delivered almost every time. Like if they're rented at $1,200, she's like, these guys are only getting $300 a bedroom. You can get $400 a bedroom. So let's I can get you $1,600 on this. So then I'll go. So right. And so like, that's how we really were able to buy, and they weren't all cash flowing like that when we bought them. Otherwise everybody else would have already bought them. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, I was able to really see just where there was an opportunity to move rents. A lot of locals own 1 or 2 off, or a lot of parents will buy a place, put their kid and their kid's friends in it. Mm-hmm. And so there's always a little bit of just kind of churn on those markets. And a lot of times those parents, like, they're not price gouging their kids' friends. Yeah. Like they're really just trying to offset their their note and their payment. And if they can do that and their kid gets to live for free and they can have fun and
Yeah.
right. And like, then that's great. But like when they go to market that, all of a sudden those numbers don't look as good to an investor because they're not market rent.
Yeah.
And so, but I wasn't the only person buying in this town during the stretch either.
Yeah.
It got way more competitive. Prices got pushed up really hard. Rents moved, prices moved. So like we ended up benefiting from the inflation and appreciation of prices and rents. And ultimately we were lucky too, like timing and luck.
Yeah. And I think there's also like you're saying, it's not, there is inflation. Yeah. It is timing and luck. That's part of it too. Yeah. But then another thing is in comparison to like what you're actually trying to achieve, like there's also the inflation of the rents. Like you found when you bought it, okay, fine, it was under rented, but then over time, the rents are still going to go up, right? So just by doing nothing already, you're in a situation where naturally you're going to be able to hit your goal, even if you were to stop and do nothing. But obviously you shouldn't. You should keep pushing.
Right.
But,
yeah, it's tricky. Yeah. I've been trying to buy some larger multifamily stuff there.
Yeah, it just takes more time. I think
it does, and everybody knows what prices move to, and the sellers still. Like they're not willing to come down to offset the higher interest rate loan that I've got to pay borrowing now. And so there's still just that gap.
Yeah.
I got close on doing like a 14 unit place, but
what market are you looking at these larger multifamilies or like mid-sized?
So I'd love to buy in Maryville if I could. I'd love to pick up some 4, 8, 12s there.
Yeah.
Just because it's a plug and play for me. I don't have to make any decisions on property managers, like all this.
You have the team.
Like all I have to do is buy it, right? All I have to do is buy it and turn it over. And it's like, it's about as passive as it gets in the passive space.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. But we're trying to buy in Columbia, Missouri. We'd like to pick some stuff up there, but the multifamily space is it's almost like REIT heavy and institutional money heavy.
Oh, wow, really?
They came in and built all the SEC towns and college campuses have big money that have come in over the last decade and gobbled up a lot of that. And so there's been like some supply and demand kind of issues. And so I'm trying to pick up like some smaller portfolio, like a small portfolio, like single families or something like that. It's a little bit of a different niche. It's not the apartment play.
Yeah.
I'd like to like buy and hold some of that. And then I've also recently connected with a couple other sub-2 members, and we're looking at trying to do some multifamily stuff in the Carolinas and Georgia. And so one of the people that's kind of leading our team is based out of over there and familiar. And then we're trying to kind of hunt down and put together some stuff and maybe do some JV stuff, or whether we end up wholesaling or keeping or what we end up doing with it to be determined by the opportunity, right?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So what are you planning for your early retirement?
Oh man. Oh, you should ask my wife. She sent me a meme the other day that was like, on Elf when he gets in the elevator and he hits all the buttons.
Yeah.
And, she sent that to me. And it was like the caption was, all the places I want to travel to this year. She's like, this is you. Cause like every time something shows up, I'm like, oh, let's go here.
Let's go here.
Let's do this. Yes. Let's do that. And so, we want to enjoy our kids, while they're here. But I love the mountains in the summer. We're going skiing. I love to ski too, but my wife's a beach person. Yeah. And so, we've got pulling a couple different directions, but I'm loving teaching right now. I don't know how long that'll last.
Well, you get your summers, right? As a teacher.
I do. See, if I could get my wife's summers, that's all I really want. If I could get my wife's summers freed up, I told her she just needs to ask work, but she doesn't know about that.
Or find a way to do like a work from home or something. I don't know. There's like so many options out there, right? Yeah.
Right. And so that's really what I want. If we could free my wife's summers up, that way we could be like free as a family. Like that'd be pretty epic, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to travel a lot during the school year anyways. The kids are in school. So I really just want to free her up for the summers. And I want to just have epic experiences with our kids while they're here and take them to explore a bunch of different places and cultures and get to see more of the world than just Midwest Missouri.
Yeah, well, I get it. Why would you want to just stay there, right?
Oh, it's pretty awesome. St. Louis is a cool town, and like if our winters keep getting warm, like it's 60 outside today here, and it's middle of December. Like I'll take mild winters, and so
Nice.
but yeah. So I don't
Man,
know.
you should see the winters up here.
I've seen that's why everybody
Yeah,
goes to
yeah.
Florida, right?
Right. Yeah, everybody goes to Florida.
So yeah.
Awesome,
yeah.
man. I know we're running out of time, so I just want to say, like, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the fact that you even came on, and hopefully we'll work on a deal together or something. You never know.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Keep an eye out for any college rentals for me.
100%.
I look forward to working with you, and I appreciate you having me on. It's been a blast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.